Welcome back to section 7.1, page 2. I'd like you to pause the video, do your activity, what's my name, and then come back and we'll do some converting from decimals to fractions. Okay, welcome back. We will be converting from a decimal to a fraction in this area, and we're going to think about what it means to be a terminating decimal. Well, terminate. What does terminate mean? It means it ends. So the definition is that it's a decimal that has a finite number of digits, okay? Or meaning that it ends. So here would be some examples. We could say 3.78, 256.1. We could have quite a few different places here, but the point is it doesn't go on and on forever. All right, they're asking us to write these decimals as fractions in their lowest terms. So if you can say these, you can write them as fractions. So when we read this, we would say 126, so I'm going to write 126 over, what would we read that as? Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So we go to the last place and then write like that. So it's 126 thousandths. So that's the fraction that we're talking about. But now we have to decide, is it in lowest terms? When I look at the numerator and denominator, I see definitely not, because they both are even. So let's go ahead and divide by 2. Okay, so when we divide by 2, the numerator becomes 63, and the denominator becomes 500. So now we have to ask ourselves again, is this lowest terms? So I think about what's in the number 63. What divides in evenly? Well, 7 and 9 is 63. 9 is just 2 3s. Well, 7 doesn't go into 500 and 9 doesn't go into 500, neither does 3. So we're done here. Okay, so that's lowest terms. Okay, 2.3. All right, so the way we're going to do this is we're going to write 2, and then we're going to say, how do we say that? Well, we say it as 3/10, right? So go ahead and write 3/10. Okay, now this isn't the way they want us to leave this one. They want us to keep going, okay? So let's write how we're saying these. 2 and 3/10. And let's write this one here. We would say 126,000. Oops, I'm misspelling it. Thousandths. Okay, that's the way it's read. Okay, so 2 and 3/10. Now, they don't want us to leave it this way. They want us to keep going and write it as one fraction. So do you remember how to do this? We say 2 times 10 is 20, plus 3 makes 23, all over 10. Then we have to ask ourselves, is it simplified? Well, what goes into 10? Just a 2 and a 5, and neither one of those goes into 23. So we're done. That's it. Okay, again, pause, go ahead and do your classwork, and then come on back. Okay, welcome back. A repeating decimal, what is that? It's a decimal whose digits do not end and whose digits repeat in some pattern. The number of digits in the repeating group is called the length of the period. Okay, you've all seen these before on your calculator. You see 0.33333 goes on forever. Okay, so how would we write that? Does anybody remember how to write that? 0.3 with a bar over it, okay? So here the length of the period, meaning how many digits repeat? 1. So we would say the length is 1 there. Okay, this one, how would we write this? We'd write 0.16, it's 66666, so only the 6 repeats, so put a bar over the 6. Again, the length of the period is 1 because only 1 digit is repeating. Okay, let's look at this one. This is 5.121212. Well, it's the 1, 2 that repeats, so we would draw the bar over the entire 1, 2. The length of that period would be 2 because there are 2 digits that repeat. Lastly, we have 0.1748. All 4 of those digits repeat over and over, and so we would say the length of that period is 4. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. Down here, it says, in lowest terms, give the fraction represented by each of these repeating decimals. Okay, so maybe you know this one to be 1/3. If you divide 1 by 3 on your calculator, you'll see you get 0.33333. But how do we go about converting? Well, we're going to use a tiny bit of algebra here. We're going to say let x equals 0.333 on forever. Then we're going to say 10x, and you'll see the trick here in a second. 10x, so if we multiply x by 10, just try it with your calculator if you don't feel comfortable. Well, what's going to happen? 10 times 0.33333. It's just going to move the decimal point over so that now we have 3.33333 on forever. So we have 3.333 on forever. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to reverse the order here, and we're going to put 10x equals 3.333 on forever, and x equals 0.333 on forever. And then we're going to subtract. And when we subtract these two, we get 99x equals, what happens? Well, the repeating part completely drops out, and we get a 3 over here. Then if we were to solve this equation, remember how you do that? You divide both sides by 99. And what do we get? We get that x equals 3 over 99. But we know, how did I get 99 out of that? 10x minus x is just a 9. Can you fix that? I'm so sorry. I didn't have you guys to holler at me there. All right, so 9 like that. And let's fix this denominator as well. 9 here. Okay, so what do we end up with? We end up with, so we had 9x, let's kind of go backwards. 9x equals 3. We divided both sides by 9. So then x is equal to 3 over 9, which we know simplifies into, if we divide by 3, we get 1/3. And that's what I promised you it would be. So, well, x doesn't really answer the question. I probably shouldn't have circled that, because what was x? Well, that was just something we were using to help us solve the problem. What do we really need? Well, we need this. We need to say that x is 0.33333. So we know that 0.333 on forever is equal to 1/3. That's what we were trying to figure out. Okay? So let's try another one just to make sure you've got the hang of this, and then you can try. All right, so here we have, notice here, we're going to let x equal 5.1212 on forever. Okay, let's do one more, 1, 2. Then, now this time, if we let 10x, all we're going to do is move the decimal point over one place. That's not going to work. We're not going to be able to subtract it out. We need to move it over 2 places so that after the decimal point is just 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So if we want to move it over 2 places, it's not 10x, but 100x. So then if we do 100x, that's going to equal, let's create a little bit of space here. Say let over here. Okay, so 100x would be 5, 1, 2. It's going to move it over 2 decimal places. 1, 2, 1, 2 on forever. Okay? So now again, let's figure out what we have by reversing the order. Okay? So, okay. So we've got 100x minus x. This is the 99x that I was trying to write before. And then when we subtract here, what happens? Well, the 1, 2, 1, 2, that goes on forever. It's gone. Here when we subtract, that's going to be 12 minus 5 is 7. And then the zeros canceled out there, so we get like this. I mean, that's what happens. So 0 and 5. Okay, and all the rest drops out. So then we're going to do what we did before, divide both sides by 99. Okay, and what do we get? We get x is equal to 507 divided by 99. Then we've got to decide, is that the simplest it can get? Well, let's see. I can see 5 plus 7 is 12. I know 3 goes into that, and 3 goes into the denominator. So let's go ahead and divide both by 3. And then what are we going to have? Well, when we divide 3 in there, we're going to get 1, 6, and 9, I believe. Here, let's do it off to the side here. 3 into 5, 0, 7. 1 goes into 5 3 times. Then subtract, get 20, bring down your 0. 3 goes into 20, how many times? 6 times. which gives me 18. Subtract 2, bring down the 7. 3 goes into 27 9 times. Okay, so 169 over 99 divided by 3 is 33. So what goes in here? 3 goes in there. Does 3 go into this one? No, because 1 plus 9 is 10 and 6 is 16. 3 does not go into 16. What about 11 also goes in? Does 11 go in here? No. So that's the answer. So what do we know? We know that 5.121212 dot dot dot. What does it equal? It equals this fraction. 169 over 33. And that's what we were supposed to be doing. So this whole page, all we've done is we've taken a decimal and we've converted it into a fraction. So it's real easy if they end, very simple to do. If they're repeating, it's a little bit harder. We have to use this little trick to figure out which fraction they'd be. Okay, that finishes page 2. Go on to page 3.